So the idea for this dojo class is basically just a very, plans to be a very free-form sort of thing. I'm gonna talk about just sort of basic spreadsheet stuff, some best practices, and kind of we'll go from there. And I'll try to make learning fun for folks as we build out some sort of spreadsheet. Kind of alluded to it in the ping, but yeah, don't really have a surefire plan there. Oh, my audio knob is not working for that. All right, well, we'll mess with that later. So yeah, so not really have a, okay, of course the fire truck's going by, but we'll figure something out, some sort of project to build just by popular demand, and we'll kind of go from there, and hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate some of the things that I do, and some of the things that I don't know, maybe some folks in the chat will have tips for me as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start recording on my end. This is all gonna go into Twitch VOD, and then I'm gonna get it exported, and probably it'll get put up on the dojo channel. Okay, so today we're gonna be using Google Sheets just because it's free and there's no real barrier to entry, except for people who don't want Google to have their email address and account with them. You can use Excel. Excel is going to be very similar, with a few notable differences, such as like the ability to create tables. You can't do that in Google Sheets. I guess there's also like LibreOffice. I completely forgot that existed. Anyways, we'll be using Google Sheets because they're nice and easy and shareable, and probably most of Eve uses them. So yeah, if you don't have a Google Drive account, you can just go ahead and create one. It's drive.google.com. I realize my address bar is hidden. But drive.google.com, and then you can sign in, and then you'll get something like this once you're logged in, and you can see all my amusing spreadsheet names and that sort of thing. And basically we're just going to go up here to the top left. We're going to click new, and we're going to click new Google Sheets, and we don't have a template. I don't think I've ever used a template for a spreadsheet, but you can just click blank spreadsheet, or you can just click over here on Google Sheets, and we're gonna get this fine view here. And I'm just gonna check my stream here. That looks fine for me, but let me know. I'm just gonna put some things here for you to see. And let me know how that text is coming through on the stream, or what. I can blow it up for you. Just going to give the chat a few seconds to catch up. Zoom just a bit? Yeah, no problem. Let's see. Boop, boop. Oh, that's too much, I think. There's one, there's two. This is 125% zoom. Okay. We'll remember that number in case I accidentally refresh and it resets itself or something. So this is your main interface for Google Sheets. Down in the bottom, is my mouse coming through? It looks like it is. Cool. Down in the bottom, we've got some stuff for listing out different sheets. So this is like, I believe Excel calls what we're looking at is a book. And then you have these tabs down at the bottom are multiple sheets in the book. And so you can swap between them, and we can rename them, duplicate them, all sorts of fun stuff. Ooh, change color. All right, I don't know if that's coming through on the stream, but there's a nice little line at the bottom. just to help differentiate things. Yeah, just clicking the add sheet thing here. We can also select sheets through this if we have a ton of sheets and we can't see them. They scroll off the screen. We have this nifty side panel here. What's this? Maps, contact. All right, we won't be using that today. And then we have explore. Well, that might be fun, but we're probably going to ignore that too. So I'm going to go ahead and give this spreadsheet a name, and we'll call it Spreadsheets 101. And yeah, we'll touch on all of this fun stuff as we go here. So yeah, first thing I guess is where are my notes? Yeah, just some basics. So a lot of people get confused a little bit about rows and columns. So give you a couple mnemonic devices. The tall ones with the letters are columns. You can think of them like Roman columns or like Greek columns. I believe the Greeks had columns too. So they're the ones, they stand up vertically, and that should be a good little device to remember that by. So we have columns, and then we also have rows. And I'm able to select multiple columns, spreading them out just by using Control click. I think if you're on a Mac, it's Command click. And yeah, you can also Shift click to select a range. The same goes for cells here. I can sort of Shift click and get different selections. You can also click and drag. That does the same thing. And if you're selecting just sort of random cells, just again Control clicking does that for you. If you're moving around with the mouse and keyboard, you just have arrow keys, and that will move you around like this. If you press Control and arrow keys, it jumps you to the ends of ranges. So if I'm sitting here on B3 some things and I Control right, that takes me to the end. So like if I add some more just random data, and let's say I skip one and we go again, if I press Control right, it takes me to the end of the range until there's like this blank space. And same thing here, I can go left and right to here, and the same thing works when you're going up and down as well. Yeah, so the other thing that I was doing here without telling you about is in order to, you fill in your values here. Right now I'm just using gibberish data, so apologies there. So if type in here and then okay, I'm done typing in, and normally you're using your text processor or something, and you hit enter, and just like that it goes to the next line, and now you can continue here. But we're filling out this table, so this is type, price, buy, sell, that sort of thing, and we want to fill this out horizontally. So we can get titanium, and I hit enter, but I want to fill out the price next. I don't want to move on to pyrite just yet. So in order to move to the right, you press tab, and so the tab will move you to the right into the next cell. So we can say price of titanium is 3.5 ISK is what you paid for it, and just hit tab, and that moves you to the next cell. You can also see Sheets here is being smart for me, and it's making all of my text aligned on the left, but my numbers aligned on the right, and that's kind of handy because I'm gonna my next line is gonna be pyrite. I think that's spelled correctly, and this stuff's going for like 12.55, and you can see it on the right. And it's nice because you can kind of line up your numbers and that sort of thing. And This is kind of where it falls apart a little bit though, because like if I paid 340, say 340, but it's being too smart and it's truncating that non-significant zero. But I want to see how these numbers line up. So we can format this column, and there's a nice little shortcut here in the bar to increase the number of zeros that we have, and decrease them, and it'll do it for the I've got the column selected, but you can just do it for like a singular item. I wouldn't generally recommend doing that, but the other thing you can do is we can go into this format column, we can do numbers, and this default numbering one here will give you your decimals as well as your thousand separator. So like if we hit like Noxium, and that's doing like 1,010 1,010 ISK per unit. So it'll automatically format it with the comma separator. I believe Google Sheets uses your region setting for the separator. So like if we go into what is it, Chrome settings, there we go, region or locale. No locale. All right. Language maybe. Yeah, so we can see like I'm in English US right now, but we can like add a language. We could go French. We could do France. We'll add, and this will not do anything. But if we refresh, it still does nothing. That's because France is at the bottom. If we move it up to the top and refresh again, it still does nothing. Cool. That was a waste of time. But now you know about locales. So folks format their thousands and decimals differently in different countries. I believe a good chunk of Europe uses periods for thousand separators, commas for decimal separator. Scientists, I think, like to use spaces for thousand separators. But that's a fun tangent, and we can also actually, just to demonstrate, we can set up a custom number format using stuff in here. So we can do the periods and commas, or we can, use spaces and commas and apply that. And ooh, that looks weird. I think I messed it up, but I think it might be the comma. Oh, okay. It expects the period there for the decimal separator. So yeah, so I've got these custom ones. So like we can do ISK that way, and it'll automatically, the number, or sorry, the cell is still formatted as a number here, but it's displayed with the formatting of the currency of the ISK. So that's actually something that's kind of interesting about spreadsheets, is cells actually have 3 values. There's the display value, or sorry, hang on, let me rephrase that. There is there's a formula, there's the value, and then there is the formatting. So we haven't touched on formulas yet, but you know what? Let's just go ahead and we want to know how much one of everything is going to cost. So we can do a formula here, and the way that you define a formula is you just press equals is your starting character, and we can see here Excel or Google Sheets is being very smart, and it's telling us, hey, you probably want to sum this column, and sum is just adding them all up. I'm going to say, yes, please, I do want that. And we can see to buy one of each, it's 1016.05 ISK. And you can see up here in this function bar, it has the equation. It's equals sum, and then the range is C4 to C6. That's also something that I didn't really mention, is usually when you're referring to a cell, you have an X and a Y position or a column and row, and the way that you refer to it as is the letter is the column, the row is the number, and we can see that this C4, so actually I'll just come down here and we can just say equals C4. And now we can see that this is the exact same value as C4. And then the colon is denoting a range from C4 to C6, and sum is the equation. So as mentioned, each cell is three things. It's the equation, it's the value, and it's the formatting. So we can do the same thing. We can just say like equals C7, but we can change the formatting here to be like a dollar formatting, for example. And so now this cell, this cell E7 has the equation C7, the value 1016, and the formatting of dollars and cents. One cool thing that you can do is you can press Control backtick, and that will change your cells to display the equation instead of the value. So I'm just hitting Control backtick. That's the backtick is the tilde button as well. It's to the left of the 1 on QWERTY keyboards, at least US QWERTY keyboards. I'm not sure about European ones. I assume it's in the same place. But you can just hit that button, and now we can see the equations rather than the values. So that's a cool little thing, probably handy if you're debugging stuff. Yeah, let's see. Cool. I'm just going to check a bunch of stuff off my checklist that we've been talking about. Cool. Does anybody have any questions or anything so far? Okay. Let's see here. So yeah, the other thing is sometimes maybe you want to like leave yourself a note or something, but you want to like have an equation or something that you don't want your spreadsheet to parse. And what you can do is you can just press the single quote. Oh, I'm not in anything. Yeah, so the other thing too is if you want to edit this cell, you should be able to just type right over it. But we want equals C7, but I don't want it to actually be, this value. I just want to say equals C7, and so we can come up into the function bar here, and we just press a single quote. And what that does is it tells Google Sheets or Excel to treat this cell as text. So once I, hit enter to get off of it, that single quote is gone from the value of the cell. And now you can see what's being displayed there. So that's likely to pop up from time to time, where you're trying to paste something and it's like, oh, this is formatting it weird. That's kind of how you get around it. Yeah, that's kind of it for the basics. So I guess we can move on to some sort of project. And I dropped a bunch in the initial ping, but I'll go over some of these ones that I've sort of pre-thought about. Is if we want to check out how much moon goo is available in our space, if we want to analyze our wallets. We can do a sheet that will help calculate what our chances of inventing something are for Tech 2 blueprints. We can do reprocessing, like a reprocessing table, so that you can see what your percentage of reprocessing is going to be in a given station, or we could, there's a bunch of stuff we can do with reprocessing, as well as sort of like mining yield and that sort of thing. And this will kind of bring in sort of like a bunch of Eve equations and that sort of stuff. We can do like a T1 build or build calculator, or an import calculator. So I'll leave it to the chat to help decide where we're gonna point our focus for this class. All right, we got manufacturing a battleship calculator. That seems reasonably complex. Tech 1 builds, gotta vote for that. Okay, we got invention and reprocessing also. Market data, yeah, we can import that. Probably have to do a bit of cleanup there, so that's a good option as well. Okay, I think what we'll do, just so that we can sort of build up our skill set a little bit slowly as we go, is I think we'll do an invention calculator. So yeah, I'm gonna just, you know what? I'm just gonna delete this sheet. So we'll just do that. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes, there's nothing on it, so that's fine. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna create a new sheet. I've already done that. And we're gonna, let's see, rename, and we're gonna call this Invention Chance. So let's see. In order to invent something, I'm gonna pop into the game here and show this the UI. Oh, this is probably going to be bad to see as well. Let's bump this up to 125% for UI, and we're going to look at the industry tab. And because we're inventing, we're going to want to look at copies. And it doesn't much matter what we're looking at. This process is going to be the same for everything. Actually, let's get all inventory locations. I guess I only have stuff in Ariadne's. Okay, that's fine. We can still look at it. Actually, I can show you a different way of doing things. Is going from the original blueprint. So let's say we're gonna do a 10 MN afterburner. We can look at the show info on the blueprint. This will work with any blueprint that can be invented. And so we can see we've got you know, the industry tab is sort of the default tab here, and it shows us what the required input materials are and the required skills, plus what we get and how many. So then we have material efficiency research, time efficiency research, and then we have copying. So what we can do, we can see that my original blueprint is at 1020, but if we go to copying, it'll show us the outcome, and we can show info on the outcome. And now we are looking at the show info for the blueprint copy. And from here, we can once again see the manufacturing. We can't do any time research or materials research or copying on it, but now this invention button lights up. And we can see that. We can see the outcome is going to be a Tech 2 10MN blueprint. We see that we need a lot more skills in order to perform this invention. and we can see the input material requirements. So we need 2 molecular engineering data cores and 2 rocket science data cores. And these data cores correspond with the skills required. So we have rocket science as a skill and molecular engineering as a skill. And those are the 2 data cores that are required. There's a 3rd skill required, which is encryption methods. And usually these are going to be your 4 Empire encryption methods. But all 3 of these are going to affect your invention chance. So let's let me find the link, and I'll drop this in the chat as well. Inventory. Where is, I'm on the wrong spreadsheet. There we are. Copy link. So I'm gonna put out there, it's games.crucker.de or dk/eveonline/inventionchance.php. And this is a very useful tool. I am not showing it on the screen, am I? I'm not. There we go. So games.crucker.dk/eveonline, eve_online/invention_chance.php. And this is a cool calculator that somebody's made to help you calculate the chance that you will succeed at a invention. So on the left here we have the base chance of the blueprint. So if we look back at the game, success probability here for our 10MN afterburner is 34%. So that's the base time. So we can set that to 34%. And then we have our different encryption skills and data core skills. So these are anywhere between 1 and 5. And then down at the bottom we have the invention chance formula. You can also use decryptors to, affect the number of runs and ME and TE that you're going to get. But let's say, we got 115 here and recalculate. So we have a 41.65% chance to invent for a success. So we want sort of all of this into our spreadsheet. Well, actually, do we want to go ahead and basically rebuild this inside the spreadsheet, or do we want to sort of do a bit of math instead to sort of, given a successful chance of invention, how many runs do I need to sort of guarantee myself a successful invention? I say guarantee in quotes because, random numbers are difficult and do not always agree with you. So is that the number of runs required, or sort of rebuilding this calculator? Number of runs required. Okay, cool. That is a lot easier, and we can build on that pretty quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, we're going to assume that you're going to use this calculator here, and we're going to get our invention chance of, 49.58% or whatever. So let's go back to our spreadsheet. We're gonna call this invention chance. So we're gonna say, what was it? Successful chance, and we're gonna say, what was it? 49.53%. And that's another thing too, is we can format this as a percentage, and we sort of like gunked it all up here because the spreadsheet sort of expected 49.53, and that's a whole number, but really what it's doing sort of behind the scenes is using a fraction. So like 49.53 53 or whatever we have here. That's the equivalent of 0.4953, and that's effectively like a multiplier that gets applied. So if you have like we get 1, and then we multiply it by 0.4953, so equals 1 times 0.4953, and we get the same because we're multiplying by 1. But that's effectively like how percentage works. Is it just sort of boils down into this like fractional multiplier. But anyways, we're gonna leave that at 49.53, and we're gonna say we're gonna have like an iteration column. So like this is actually, we'll call this runs. Then we're gonna have a success chance, and we're gonna need also a fail chance. And I'm just double clicking, so you can resize the columns here. To do so really quickly, you just double click, and that is nice and easy, really quick, does all your stuff for you. You can also do multiple columns this way, and they'll all come up. Well, if you drag them, they all come up the same size. If you double click, they all contract to be the smallest size required. So in order to sort of do this, we're gonna say, where did my screen go? There we go. So we're gonna say 1, 2, and I don't want to fill out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all that fun stuff. I'm gonna highlight these two numbers, and Sheets is gonna be smart enough to sort of autofill this down for me. And I'm just grabbing this this little blue circle in the bottom right, and just sort of dragging it down, and now we can see, it's filled it out for me. There's no equation or anything. It just fills out the numbers. That's a pretty handy thing. So then we have a success chance. And the way that we're going to calculate, that is actually, first we need to figure out the chance of failure. And so the chance of failure is the opposite of the successful chance. So we're going to say equals C2, we're going to say 1 minus C2. And so the chance of failure for this Invention run is going to be 50.47%. So that's the failure chance for the first run. So that means that the success chance is the inverse of that. So 1 minus D5 is going to be the success chance. So if you only do one run, you got a 49.53% chance. The fail chance is the one that we're interested in. And so in order to calculate the failure chance of the second run, because these are all individual runs, I'm not entirely sure how to explain this in mathematical terms, but because they're discrete runs, the outcome of the first doesn't affect the outcome of the second, but your chance of failure comes down as you do more runs. So in order to calculate that, what we're going to use is we're going to multiply the success chance by the failure odds of the previous run. So we're going to do this success chance times failure chance. And now, on the second run, our failure chance is only 25% because math. And So we can say, you know, equals 1 minus d6. And so now, after 2 runs, we have a 75% chance that one of these 2 runs is going to be a successful invention. I'm just going to go ahead and make these headers on the table bold, and you can just click that or hit Control B. And also I'm going to center them because it's a table and I like my tables to look nice. So yeah, so this is basically it. We're just going to fill this equation down, and then we'll see wherever this success chance reaches 100% or close enough to it, where, you know, you're reasonably confident that you'll beat the odds. Then that's how many runs you wanna get. So we're gonna take this and we're just gonna fill it down. And, this is broken. Okay. So what's going on here? Let's have a look at our equation. So we're trying to say C3 times D6. So C3, oh, that's not what we want here. We want this successful chance. We don't want C3. So what's happening here is Sheets is trying to be smart, and it thinks that we want a relative offset from this cell. So this C3 is like it's like 1 to the left and 1, 2, 3, 4 up, which is what we had for this one. This is 1 left and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So that's actually not what we want. We always want to do the multiplication against this C2 cell. So for this equation, for C2, we want to use, yes, exactly, $signs. We want to lock it in. So we can use $C, $2, and what that does is it makes the reference the specific cell. So this locks it in both the column and the row with the $signs. But you can also there's a shortcut here. It's F4, and F4 will cycle through different sort of, I guess, offset or locked modes. And you know, we only really need C2 here, or $2. So we want to lock it into the second row of the C column. But if we then like decide that we want to go to the right, then you can see we're gonna reference D2, E2, F2, which we don't really want to do. So we'll just that was that's not what I want. Go away. So we'll just we're gonna use just $C, $2, and that's gonna lock it into this cell. This D5 is just the cell above us, so that's fine. That's cool. I'm okay with this. And then if we look over here, we got 1 minus D5, 1 minus D6, and that's fine. We can use that. So we just need to lock down this C2 value, and now when we fill it down, it looks all nice, and we can fill this down. And once we switch back to get our values, we can see that after 8 runs, there's a 100% chance, I'm saying that in quotes, that you will, at least one of these 8 runs will succeed. So success chance, you know, at least one. One thing or that a lot of folks do, and it's just sort of like a common practice thing, is a lot of people will fill, like we can flood fill cells different colors, and what a lot of people do is they will take any sort of cell that a user is expected to fill out. So in this case, it's our success chance. People will fill, and I don't know what people like to use, whether it's like a nice little like light purple or whatever, like a blue. I don't know. Usually what I do is I use borders, and I use a nice bright red, single solid thin border, and I just do the outer border. And now I see this red box, and I know that, okay, this is an input. Or, yeah, you can use like a light green if you want. You can get rid of the borders. But that's what we want there. So this is the number that's going to change. So if we change this to, say, a 30% chance, now we can see, okay, it's going to take 6 runs to get us a 100% chance of success. Is that right? This math. Hang on now. This math seems wrong to me. Oh, okay. Yep, I see what I did here. We've gone ahead and done some wrong math. So we don't actually want. Okay, so here we're gonna lock in C2, but in this portion here, we didn't actually want C2 to be multiplied in. We actually wanted the failure chance to be multiplied in, and so the failure chance is in D5 is the failure chance. And so we're going to multiply failure chance by failure chance to get the second run failure chance. And so let's fill that down. So we're always going to be multiplying the failure chance of a single run by the failure chance of the previous run. That's how we're gonna figure that out. So if we go back here, now we can see this makes a lot more sense. At 5 runs, there's an 83% chance that one of those 5 runs are going to succeed if you have a base success rate of 30%. So this makes a lot more sense. At least results wise. So the other thing here that I'm now going to touch on is this is great. We now have this spreadsheet. It works exactly how we want it. And just for me, as a matter of course, I don't like the fact that you can just like scroll off the screen in any direction and lose all of this. And like this is a nice little sort of succinct thing. So what I like to do is I'll select like a column. I give myself a nice little buffer space in the table, and I'll hit Shift, Control, and Right, and that's going to select all of these columns. And I'm just going to right click, and I'm going to delete columns F through Z. And now I can't scroll to the right, and I'm just going to do the same down at the bottom here, and we're just going to delete from row 31 to 1000. Just right click delete, and now I scroll a little bit, so maybe I'll get rid of another couple rows here. Delete selected rows, and yeah, now I can't scroll. And now this is a nice little Invention chance tab that we've made here. So yeah, I like this. This is looking pretty nice. There is a couple things that bother me when I look at this. When I look at these equations like D5 times D16, it's kind of ugly and difficult to read. So let's clean it up, and we're gonna make this self-documenting spreadsheet, and we're gonna do that using something called named ranges. And so I'm gonna select this success chance here, and I believe it's under Insert, or let's see, conditional formatting, no, data validation, extract, here we go, named functions, named ranges here. So it's data named ranges, and in Sheets here, it's going to pop open a thing on the right here, and we can click add a range. and we're going to call this success chance. I'm not putting in any spaces because that's sort of bad form for variables and the like. And so we're going to call it success chance, and we can click this select data range here, and we can click here, and we can see on the right that it's changing. And so we're just going to select our cell C2 here, and we're going to call this success chance. And we're going to hit OK. We're going to hit done. And now we can see it shows up in this list as success chance. And this is really cool. I'll show you an alternate way in a moment. But now we can change this equation. And instead of saying 1 minus $C $2, we can change this to success chance. And, you know, Sheets is nice and happy, and it'll just trying to help us out and says, hey, you must mean success chance. And yes, we do. And now we can see 1 minus success chance is our new equation. And that's a lot easier than C2. It's like, oh, well, what's C2? Okay, now we got to look over here in the sheet and find stuff. So that's nice. I'm going to switch back to our mode here, or our other mode rather. And so this is kind of interesting. So okay, let's take care of our at least one success column here. And so in order to do that, we're gonna name this fail chance column. And the other way that you can do this in Excel as well, is there's this name box thing here, and so that's another. It's a shortcut for, you know, data named ranges. You can just click this drop down and click manage named ranges, and see it pops up here. But instead of that, we're just going to click inside this box, and you can see we currently have the D5 to D27 range. And actually, you know what? We can just call it the whole D column, and we're gonna give it a name. We're just gonna call this fail chance. Hit enter, and now this whole column is called fail chance. So we can change this equation here to be 1 minus fail chance. And Sheets is going to be smart enough to, you know, take whatever row we're on, and now this equation becomes the same for the entire column here for success chance. So you can see our numbers, our values haven't changed. So this is great. Excel or Sheets is smart enough to be like, oh, you know, 1 minus fail chance, but you know, we're on row 8 right now. So Sheets is smart, and it's like, oh, hey, you must mean row 8 of the fail chance range. So it's just gonna like pop over into the fail chance range on the same row and do the math that way. So that's kind of how that works. And let's go ahead and clean up this a little bit. We'll add a new named range. I think you can add a define a named function, define a named range. So you can also right click on your cell, go to view more cell actions, and click define named range, and that'll bring up this right panel again. So we can add named range, and we're going to call this one fail chance. We can't call it that though, because we're calling the whole column that. So let's call it first fail chance. First fail chance. So we're going to hit done there, and now we can change this to be first fail chance. And I'm just hitting enter or tab here, and that'll sort of autofill. Oops. And then once again, we'll just, I think actually there's another shortcut you can do, and it's just double clicking. I think maybe that only works if we're over here, but if we double click, yeah. So if the cells below it are empty, you can just double click that little circle in the bottom right of the cell that you've highlighted, and it'll just automatically fill it down. And there we go. So I think for this having this sort of relative D5, D6, D7 because it's sort of like a +1 in the same column. This is fine. It's a sort of it's a relative jump, and you're only going up one. You don't have to scroll around your sheet or anything. So this is pretty good. And so now we can see we can adjust our success chance here, and that fills out our first box, which fills out this one, and this is a lot easier to read than all those D4s, F6s, C7s, $C, $2s, and all that fun stuff. So that is named ranges. They are very useful and make your spreadsheets self-documenting, which is chef's kiss. It's the good stuff. So that is sort of our invention chance calculator. I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm going to grab this the invention chance calculator URL, and I'm just going to drop it in here as a comment. Comment, and we'll paste that. And there we go. So now when you hover over it, you can click this link and get taken to the calculator to use to figure out this initial successful chance. Yeah, cool. All right, so that is invention chance. Gonna run up the chat here a little bit. Let's see. Had market data, T1 builds, invention and reprocessing, also useful. I think yeah, let's pull in some market data. We're gonna pull it in from the game. There are scripting tools you can use in Google Sheets. I think the big one is GESI, or like Google ESI. ESI is the API that Eve uses to let you pull out data from the game, from outside the game, using various tools and apps and all that stuff. And that's going to be beyond the scope of the class today. So maybe I'll do a follow-up, but that one's going to be definitely more in-depth, and there's going to be some like actual programming involved with that. So I don't really want to do that today. So yeah, let's just pull in some raw data from the market. I'm going to go ahead and start a new tab, and we're going to call this market data. And yeah, pop over to the game. We can close this, and let's see, I'm in FN right now. So let's have a look at the market. Okay, I don't think. Let's see what we got for minerals. Unfortunately, I think FN might not be a super great market to do this with, but we'll find out. So yeah, so right now we're looking at the pure blind regional market. We can see all of our sell orders and our buy orders down here. So what do we want to have a look at? Let's look at the price history. So normally when you look at the price history in the game, you get this nice graph, and it's really cool. You can scroll it out, you can expand this window, it gives you Bollinger Bands and averages and all that fun stuff. But did you know that you can click this button in the bottom left that says Show Table, and you get a nice table full of all of the transactions for the last day. So it's group by day, and you can see, okay, so okay, we can go to the most recent one. So July 30th, 4 orders, 6 million units. Also the low at 604, high at 640, and average 640. So probably, somebody only bought or sold a couple at 604 and the rest at 640. So let's go ahead and grab this. We're gonna take we got 3 months here. Yeah, that's cool. That's probably all we need. So I'm just gonna go in here. I'm gonna hit Control A, Control C, and oh nice, they seem to have filled out all of the zeros in the table. I don't think they used to do this. So yeah, so we're gonna hit Control A, Control C. We're gonna go back over to our spreadsheet here, and we're gonna pick a cell. We're gonna hit paste, and gosh, this is gross. So we're gonna have to clean up our data here too. So let's just add some columns. We got date. We got what's the next one? Orders quantity. Orders quantity. Low, high, average. And so once again, we're just gonna bold that, and we're going to do that. Yeah. So this is actually something that's cool about Excel is you can just say like, "Hey, make this a table," and then it does some cool like formatting type stuff. And I don't think that that's possible in Google Sheets at this time. Insert cells, rows, columns, sheet. I think sheet is just going to be another tab. Yeah. So we can do pivot tables. I'm not super familiar with pivot tables, but you can do a lot of cool stuff with them. Anyways, let's continue on here. And so we're going to go out here. And so right now, Eve uses periods for date formats, and that really confuses spreadsheets for some reason. Despite the fact that Excel wants to make everything a date, it can't read this format, and neither can Google Sheets. So let's clean it up. And in order to do that, we're going to use some functions. So I'm just going to go over to this I column here, and we're going to put in. Actually, you know what? Let's do the date an extra column to the left. Real date. And so what we're going to do is we're going to reformat this this date string to be a date string that Excel recognizes as a date string. Conveniently, actually, if we, you know what, yeah, okay, let's do that. We're going to highlight, okay, let's delete real date for now. We're just going to highlight this whole table. Again, I just did that using Control left and right and up and down. And I'm just also holding Shift while I do that. And we're gonna make this a filter table. So we just create a filter, and now we can see, we can sort all of these orders. We can sort quantity. We can sort average price, and it does this for all of our rows. Conveniently, actually, I don't think we have to modify this date because this is using an ISO 8601 like format where it's year, month, day, hour, minute, second. So it's actually really sortable. So we can say, yeah, okay, so we're back to the 5th, and then we go high to low, and this is the most recent date. So we can't actually sort like this, but I'm going to demonstrate a correctly formatted date. And that will bother me. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a function called, I think it's replace. And so replace is part of a string text with a different text. So let's go ahead and do that. And it's going to give us the parameters. So we're calling this replace function. And we can get a little bit more info about it if we click this down arrow. And if we click learn more, we can get even more with a help pop-up here on the right. So first thing is the text that we want to replace, and we're gonna click date here for C3, and then we're going to hit comma. Position. So what does position do here? It's the position where the replacement will begin starting from 1. So we want that with 1. Oh, actually, okay, so replace isn't actually the function that we want. We want to, I believe it's substitute. Replaces existing text with new text in a string. So text to search is going to be our C3 cell. We are searching for, and we're searching for a period. And then we're going to replace it with a hyphen in order to get the correct ISO 8601 standard. And then we have this occurrence number. And occurrence number here is in square brackets. And what the square brackets mean is that it's an optional parameter. So we see, yeah, occurrence number, and in the big help here it says optional. So we can say, you know what, let's, just for funsies, let's say we only want to replace the first one in the string. So now we can close that off, we can hit enter, and now we can see that the first period has been replaced with a hyphen. And it's a date here. So let's get rid of that. We're just going to delete the 1 and the comma, hit enter, and now we have a real date formatted for real people. Then we can just take that, we'll fill it down, and let's expand our filter. I'm just going to highlight the whole table again. We're going to remove the filter and re-add it, and that's that. So now if we filter on it, is it still not? Hang on, let's just highlight it, and we'll say format number, and we'll say date time. Okay, and it still doesn't understand this. And I'm sure that if we do format number date time, it doesn't understand that either. Okay, so let's, instead of substituting the hyphen, let's try a / to see if we like that. And so we drag it down and fill that in, and now we format number date time. That looks good. Can we just say time? No. Format number date. Still doesn't like it. Date time. Okay, so it's not rearranging. It's not figuring it out. Do we have to cast it? Can we date? I would have extracted the zeros. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So we have to convert this using date value. So converts a date string to a date value. So we're going to use date value. We're going to go back to our hyphen, and we're going to do that. There we go. Now it's formatting it like we kind of want it to. Just out of curiosity, if we go date value and we say C3, does Sheets actually recognize it? Yeah, so Sheets really doesn't like the periods there as your month-day separators. So that's why we do actually need to substitute those periods for hyphens, and then we got to run it through date value in order to get a real date value string. So my computer is set up weird, and Eve lets me do this, and so you can see that I have spaces as separators. So Excel thinks that this quantity value is a string, but really it's a number. So if I come in here and I say like format this as a number, it doesn't know what to do. Like you can see the zeros filled out their decimal places. The quantity though is still kind of broken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the date. I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to say equals substitute, and we're going to search this E column. We're going to remove spaces, and we're just going to replace them with nothing, and that's it. And yes, I do want you to autofill that all the way down. Thank you for being helpful. So now we have this number, and it fills out the equation. You can see up in the top, or if I do this, then we have this substitute equation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy all of that, just hitting Control C, and I'm going to just fill over this quantity column. So I'm going to hit paste, and it's broken. So what happened here is that you can see actually the equation is still happening, and it's moved over. It's now looking at A3 instead of E3, because that's, I guess I moved over 4 rows, and so this is all broken. So yeah, so what we want to do here, because we're actually we want to replace this quantity with, I'm just going to hit undo here, Control Z. We want to replace it with these actual numbers. We don't want the equation. We don't want the equation. We want the value of the cell. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to go back in here, and instead I'm going to hit Control Shift V, or you can do Edit, Paste. We're going to look at Paste Special, and we're going to paste values only. And you can see we can also paste format only or formula only, or any sort of things like this. But we only want the values of this I column cells. So we're going to hit values only, and bloop. Okay, now we're all the numbers that we want here. So let's go ahead and format this as a number, and bada bing. Now we have nice comma separated thousands and decimal places. So this is great. This is what we want. Now we can delete this I column, and this is great. We're going to have to do, because Eve likes to throw in the ISK to let you know that it's ISK. This is, we're going to do the same thing here, low, high, average. These are all strings and not numbers like we're expecting. So we're just going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go equals low. Actually, this time we're going to use that replace. So we're going to go replace B. Replace is part of. Okay, so what's replace and replace B? Let's find out. Replace is part of a string. Why is it B? Number of bytes. Okay, yeah, we don't. Okay, so we don't want to do replace B. We just want replace. And so we're going to take text is F3. Whoop. And okay, I didn't finish filling in the equation. That's fine. We can just go up to the function bar here. We can hit comma. We're going to hit say position, and this time I'm pretty sure we can do a negative value. So if I say -4, length 4, and new text is empty string, is that going to work? It's not going to work. Okay, dang. Should be okay. So function replace parameter 2 value is -4. So what I was trying to be sneaky here. I was trying to take this, and we're going to go and delete the last 4 characters from this to leave us with that, because, like, you know, for example, maybe somebody sold, you know, let's say maybe the high, instead of being 640, was like 1640. The equation is going to change here. So like if I wanted to do this, we can go 4 for length 4 and new text is empty string. I guess length is 5. Or hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. 6.0K. Oh, I guess it's 5. Length 4 empty string, and there we go. There's our 6.04. But if we copy that over to the next column, we get 16.4K, because the numbers, the width or the number of characters in the string is different. So I was trying to sort of index it backwards, and so just delete the right 4 characters. And you know what? There probably is a function, I wonder. So if we get like substring, or truncate. No, that truncates a number. What can we do here? Trim? Remove space characters, but I think no, okay, that's just for trim. Trend, truncate, trim mean, transpose. Okay, you know what? Let's do some Googling. Let's see. Google Sheets. Delete portion of string. Remove character from string. Text to search. No, we don't want remove. Remove substring. So we substitute. Oh, actually, yeah, we can just use substitute. Substitute, and we're going to take. Let's see. Here, let's do it over here. So we're gonna, instead of replace, we're gonna substitute. And we're going to search F3. We're going to search for space ISK, and we're going to replace it with just an empty string, and that's it. That's going to take care of that for us. Now we can fill that out to get our high and our average, and then we're just going to double click, and that all fills down. So now we can copy this, and once again we're gonna right click. We're gonna paste special. Paste values, or Control-Shift-V, and that goes down. We can now format these as a number, and we get our right align stuff, and I can delete that stuff on the right. So mild annoyances when you're doing importing stuff here, but it's fine. It's easy to work around. Another thing we can actually do, and I think I do kind of want to do this, is we're going to rename this. We're going to say this raw market data, and we're just going to delete all of this work that we've done just now, and we're going to go back into the game, and we're just going to copy all of this data again. Just going to hit Control-C, back to our thing. We're going to go here. We got date, date, orders, quantity, low, high, average. And let's see, what are we going to do? We're just going to leave this. This is going to be our data. And then we're going to take this this fourth sheet here, and we're going to call this market data. And we're gonna steal what's in the previous, what's in this sheet, and we're just gonna format it nicely for ourselves. So we're gonna say equals, and we're gonna say raw market data. So there's an exclamation raw. I don't remember how to do this. Okay, there we go. So we're going to say raw market data B3 is what we want, and we're just going to fill this across, and this is all the stuff that we have. But we're going to, you know what? Let's we're gonna do a named range, and we're gonna select all the columns here in our raw market data. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna say raw market data. And then we're going to come here, and we're just going to say equals raw market data. And is it smart enough? No. Okay. Could not, an array value could not be found. Okay, so we can't really do this. We're going to have to gonna have to kind of work around it. So we're gonna do that raw market data. So this is we're doing equals and then single quotes is to get into a different sheet, and then was it the bang and then B3, and that's how we get our data. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do that formatting on the data from the raw market data. So now we can do was it substitute the cell, and then we're going to search for periods, replace with hyphen, and then we're going to date value, wrap it in date value, and that's a weird number, but I think we just need to format this as a date time, and there we go. I wonder if can we just format it as a date? Yeah, that's good. We don't actually need the time. The time is just zeros anyways. So the order number is fine. The quantity we're gonna have to fix up. So we can say, was it substitute? And we're gonna do that. And we're gonna search for space and replace with nothing. And that fixes my number. And then once again, we're going to substitute the cell. We're going to replace space ISK with nothing. And we'll just fill that over. It's EFG. Yep, cool. And now can we just, okay, we can't really double click here. So we can fill down, and that works. We're just going to format this as a automatic. Okay, it doesn't like that, but we have a number. Oh, it doesn't like that either. But these guys are currency. That should be fine. Percent accounting currency. Okay. Why is it not doing this? Okay, what is happening is the sheet is treating it like a number, or sorry, like a string, because we're doing this substitute function, which it results in a string value and not an integer value. So we're gonna have to cast this string into an integer value. And so we can do that. I believe it's just int val, int, or maybe just value. Merge date, time, number, string into a number. Yeah, so we're just going to do value, and we're going to wrap that around our substitute. And we'll do the same thing here, value. And yeah, that's given us what we want here. So now we can fill this down again, and we can get that. So that's great. It's a little annoying that, you know, we sort of have to manually do this. I wasn't sort of expecting to do it, and eventually, once we, yeah, there we go. Once we hit that, we start getting these value errors because we only copied in 3 days worth of stuff. I was kind of hoping that we could just fill down and it would grab the whole range on this page. But I feel like that's probably fine for demonstrative purposes. There is probably a function, like I know I can do import, I think. Import data, import feed, import range, and then, oh, that's a different spreadsheet altogether. So, like there are functions where we can probably, you know, manipulate the data from another table and make it all look pretty here. But I'm not familiar with them personally. So anyways, we've got our market data here. Why don't we build a graph? So that should be cool. We're just gonna like highlight the whole table. Also, that's a cool thing too, is like if you're just out in space here, you hit Control A, it highlights everything. You don't really want that. But if you're in like a table, like just like a block thing, hitting Control A will highlight the whole table for you. So that's really handy. And you know, once again, Sheets is really smart. We can just hit this insert chart button, and it's going to give us this nice little chart. And this is quite a bit of stuff here. We don't super need that sort of thing. But let's go ahead and figure stuff out. So it's let's see, date. X-axis is date. Yeah, add x-axis, date. There we go. Series. Let's just look at the average price. Can we? Oh, actually, no. Hang on. Let's order. That's how many orders. Date. Let's remove. Yeah. Okay. So what's going on here is that each bar is one of these different values, and we don't really actually want that. Let's change the chart type. Seems to want to say column chart. Oh, it's saying, hey, this is the date. The date is getting higher or lower. So we don't want that. Let's remove, and let's add a series. Why does it only want the date? Add x-axis, date, add series, and we're going to say select a range. We're going to want, let's see, average price. Combine ranges horizontally. Yeah, so we have, yeah, series average. I wonder why it disappeared. Oh gosh. Oh, switch rows columns. We don't want to do that. Use rows 2 as headers. Use column B as labels. Yeah, okay. Treat labels as text. Probably not. We want dates. So yeah, so we can take the average. We can add another series and say, let's see, F to F. We'll add, oh, okay, F to F. Well, that'll give us our highs. And yeah, the market isn't super active, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, so that didn't really give us a label, which is not ideal. Oh, we can, oh, ooh, no, don't do that. So let's add the series, and we'll say hi market data F2 to thing, and it says, okay, so it knows that, and so we're going to put in the highs. And okay, there's one where the average was a lot lower than the high. Yeah, we can go in here. I think we can customize this. We can change around a bunch of stuff. Really, you can just poke around and see what works to get you the data that you're looking for. We can say, ooh, we can drop the opacity on the line colors. Oh, we don't want to do it to all of them though. We just want to say, like, we want the average to stand out, so we'll drop the opacity on the highs, and that sort of shows you, it's like, okay, it's overlapping most of the time, but like you can see where the highs spike up. And we have our dollar values over on the left. We can throw in error bars if we want. That's not super useful for this graph, so I'm going to get rid of that. Where did those dots come from? Oh, point shape. No, we don't want a point. That's not what we want for this graph. So we can add, yeah, we can add the legend, edit the legend, change the axes, putting grid lines and ticks. I think for the most part though, these charts are going to be pretty straightforward. Do area charts, stacked area charts. That's not useful for market data. Let's see, what about columns? And not super easy to read here. So I think line chart is going to be the ideal, unless we can have, that's a waterfall chart. Ooh, we can do a candlestick chart. So let's have a look at the candlestick chart, how we can build that. X-axis is the date. Invalid type? What do you mean? Get out of town. Let's see. Okay, low. We can add our low here and highlight. Oop. We got add low. We're gonna add a range, and we're gonna do E to column E. That gives us our low, our open. We're going to say that the average is our open, and the close is also going to be the average, and the high is going to be the high. Column date must be text. Are you kidding? We just spent all that time making it a string, or making it a date format, and you don't accept a date format for a date formatted axis? Brutal. Killing me. All right. Let's just go ahead and remove our date value conversion. Whoops. And again, just control down, and then we're just going to double click. And yeah, now we have our date as a string. We can scale this puppy up. And yeah, unfortunately, because we're using the average as the open and the close, the chart looks a little bit wonky. But let's see, if we double click here, we can come in here and we can say, let's see, okay, can we reduce? Okay. Oh, no wonder this data range is wonky. Okay. Let's see, B2 to sit G1000. Okay, so low is low, open is average, close is average, high is high. There we go. Okay, this looks a little bit better. So yeah, so unfortunately, because we're using the average as the open and the close, we're not actually getting the full candlestick grouping, or not grouping, but sort of shape. But we can see all of the whiskers. So we can see here back on the 18th, the average price was, 4.5, 5, but there were some sales for lower and higher. This is something where you can massage your data a little bit better. So you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to drag this off to the side, and what we'll do is we'll create a new column. We're going to rename average to be close, and we're going to create a new column called open. And we'll do that, and we're just going to call open. We're going to say it's close. For the first day, we're going to say it's the same. But then for every other day, we're going to say that it is the open, or it's the close of the previous day. And then we'll just fill that down. And now, so basically what we're saying is that the opening price is the closing price of the previous day. And that's sort of allowed us to massage our data a little bit. And now we can come back in here, double click. We can say instead of G1000, we're going to go H1000. And now we're going to say that open is open and close is close. And there we go. That's looking a lot better for a candlestick graph. So now we can see, yeah, that first day is just like a little line where, you get the low in there. But now if we look at the other stuff, we can say, okay, the price was down on this day. The price went up on this day for the average. And now we get a couple of whiskers happening. So that's how we kind of do that. for market stuff. So we can drag this over here. So that actually we don't need to really, because we're taking this this data, we've already massaged it from the raw data. What we can do now is we can go back into the game and we can say, okay, what about Noxium? What's Noxium doing? So we can copy that. You can come in here, go to our raw market data tab, just come in here on the first cell and hit paste. And now if we go to market data, everything's different. And we're missing values. Oh, okay, cannot be parsed to number because I have spaces in my stuff again. So we're going to do another substitute. And we're gonna sort of nest this inside, and we're gonna replace spaces with nothing, and that value is gonna be passed into our other substitute, which removes the ISK line, and then we get the value there. So, you didn't work. Why not? Oh, because we already removed the space. So, all right. In that case, we're gonna put this substitute. I don't know why I moved the substitute. To the outside of the ISK substitute, and that will go there, and now that works. So let's copy this equation. We're going to put it in on our top row, and then we're going to fill it to the right. We only want the high-low close. We don't want to touch our open one, which is one that we've done ourselves. And then I'm going to delete all of those, and we'll fill this down. There we go. So now we can just change our raw data at will, and we can get our candlestick chart. So let's for fun. Oh, I just did all of that without it on screen. My apologies. Okay, where did my screen go? Where did my mind go? Okay, so let's grab something else. Let's grab Mexilon. Copy that. Actually switch back to the screen. And so yeah, so what I did was I was getting some value errors because my formatting has spaces in it and we hit the thousands and I didn't account for that previously. So all I did was I wrapped this substitute up here. So initially we just had this substitute. So I added this substitute and replaced all of the spaces with nothing. And then we pass that into the value, and that's how we get our real values here. And that went ahead and fixed up all of our data here, and we got some nice candlestick graphs. So now that I've copied the Mexilon data, we can come in here, we can just hit paste, and everything is cool, and we get our Mexilon data. And that's awesome. That's what we want. We can keep this off to the side if you want to look at it in tabular format. I wonder, let's do another graph here actually. And we're just gonna hit Control A. We're gonna say Insert Chart, and the only thing that we want on this chart is quantity. So we're gonna remove order, we're gonna remove low, we're gonna remove high, we're gonna remove close, and we're gonna remove open. And so now we have a volume chart. So we can say, let's see. Oh. Use column. Oh, hang on. Where is customize chart style, chart axis and titles? There we go. So now we can say volume. And I'm just gonna come back to this guy. We're gonna shrink it down a bit, and we're gonna rename you from date to price. So now we can have our two graphs here, And if we scale them to be the same size, we can see how the volumes and the prices line up. We can see, like, you know, normally what I would want to see is like a combination graph where you have the candlestick on the top and the volume is just sort of inlaid there, and that is pretty useful for looking at stuff. I've also shrunk these graphs down a lot, so they're a bit more difficult to read. But you don't have to on your spreadsheet. Okay, so that is bringing market data in and massaging the market data to work with your sheet and give you sort of the data that you're looking for in a useful format that's readable. This quantity here, we can use this. We can decrease the decimal places because there's never going to be a fractional quantity. So now we only have whole numbers visible here. And yeah, so that's market data. Another thing, we don't want to do that with market data though. So getting ahead of myself. All right, let me refer to my checklist. Cool, took care of that. Haven't done that. Did that. That's gonna come up later, I think. Yeah. So we did invention chance, and we did import export formatting. Cool. Yeah, so what do we want to have a look at next? I got a bit of time. I think what I'll do is call a break here for maybe 5 minutes. Get up, stretch your legs, do some bio, all that fun stuff, and then we'll continue. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So feel free to drop what you want to build next into the chat. And I will also make this spreadsheet available after the class if you want to go through and dissect it later. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a bit of a break, and we'll reconvene in 5. You know what? Let's say 10 minutes. Give everybody a bit longer. Yeah.